I would like to ask our technology panelists to come back, our speakers. I'm going to ask just Stephen to stay up here from this group so we can leverage the inventory of mics appropriately. So Edward, Alvina, I see you're still here. Okay, we're going to be about 10 minutes, so that's perfect. And Eric, can you join us? And I actually have a question for all of you. Could you move over one? Thank you. I have a question for all of you that will not be about what you've been talking about. It's a different kind of technology question. And then if the audience has questions for these folks, I know that everyone but Alvina will be here at lunch, I believe. So why don't you find them and sit with them and ask your direct questions. I recently had the opportunity to do I was a guinea pig for an online leadership training program, and it was called Embracing Future Realities. And one of the segments was on how technology will influence the future of various aspects of work. And, we hear a lot about the fact that robots will do 50% of the jobs that exist out there by 2025, and we'll all have to retool and figure out. So my question for you all is, what is the impact of technology on the future of your workforce or your work process or your work product? You made a comment earlier about the kinds of people you're hiring now to work with you. So I'll start with Stephen.
Thank goodness.
Because he opened it up.
Yes, and I think the comment you're alluding to is that now I'm hiring programmers instead of sound designers and composers.
Right.
Because developing these 3D worlds is incredibly complex, and it requires programming. The content is still critically important, but we can't deliver it with these modern tools without this aspect, and that's certainly true for audio, but it's also, I think, becoming increasingly true for the visual arts as well.
Right. Edward.
Every step. I mean, from design, we used to, draw on paper,
Yep.
and now we draft in three-dimensional spaces and fly-throughs and animatics, and very few of our presentations or documentation this day doesn't have some sort of an AV component to it, even at a conceptual level. So I think concepts taken over the design. I mean, technology's taken over the design process extensively, but I think through the whole process we're seeing technology take over many of the final products. I mean, we're relying on media now to tell entire stories and attractions. So the idea is that nobody's running around just pointing and hanging scenery anymore. I mean, it's integrated technology, and there are programmers and there are technologists out there, and we see it just getting more and more integrated. There is no separation between scenery and projection and lighting and audio anymore. There is no separation.
Yeah.
It is show, and that's what we've always referred to it. It's the show, and it's what you hear, it's what you see, it's what you smell, it's what you feel. It's all of it. We're addressing every sense in every way possible, and that's all technology. So we're seeing that the trend moving to just perfecting each one of those individual senses.
Great. Alvina, technology.
Yes. For snow, you use it for sports and also for entertainment. For example, if you have a normal ski slope and let's say 4,000 square meters, you can only have, say, maximum 700, a lot already. But because of kind of technology, you can use the revolving slope. And in such a small, 20 square meters, you can have 2 people to continually ski. And by using VR or AR and getting the effect of cold wind or seeing things, you feel like you're skiing on the mountain. So this way also influence our design. You want to touch the snow or not, or you just want to imagine you are on the mountain. And also for our snow attractions, the same. By purely playing with snow, we also want to interact with something like a digital, and hearing, smelling, and all these things together kind of trick us to think more. Is that the only way, like playing with snow? Or you kind of can use another way to bring similar kind of snow experience, but don't, like say, step out from the snow world. It's really a balance. The traditional snow, the real snow we have, and kind of fake snow, but you also feel like snow
Right.
in this monster.
Great. Eric, I would imagine in the work that you do, technology helps remove the human factors, but it also, the human factor has a role.
Yes, yes, like what you mentioned before about like AI and robotics. That is also an area that we often discuss about like functional safety, like how a robot that is powered by AI, how it can work, help us to work more efficiently, but at the same time also pose a danger to our environment because, for example, like a automatic forklift that goes around the warehouse that can, or some similar concept can be used in the theme park, like more robotic characters that are in the theme park. If they suddenly started to go on a mind of their own,
Right.
then like the designer will mainly focus on the creativity of the design, but they cannot see from a safety perspective or a functional safety perspective of how to maintain that system or that robot under control.
Right. Well, it's
to keep it
another
safe.
system that you have to.
Yes, yes. So
keep
there has
track
to
of.
be a separation between the creativity and the safety aspects of the design. But
Right.
they have to go hand in hand.
So we won't be seeing robots checking lap bars on coasters anytime soon?
No, no.
Okay.
The-
Any other comments? Any other things that come to mind from this group on this topic?
Yeah, I have one thought that it almost implied, your question almost implied this idea of replacement.
Yeah.
And
Or shift.
or
shift,
yes, and
right?
and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I see it more as a shift.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I was suggesting about the hires that we do now. But I think it's important to point out that we're not talking about shuffling humans out of the
Not at all.
equation.
Yeah.
It's very much a change, and I think it's exciting because there's a lot of depth to the technology and a lot of skill that's required.
Right.
And I think that that's an exciting shift.
Right.
I think interpretation is probably the part of the process that never goes away. That's the human element to it. So the idea that there's a story and there's this creative component that needs to be interpreted into technology. It's not merely this emotion means this technology. It's a design. There's budgets, there's schedule, there's appetite from a space and facility. So all of those things create a bit of a need for an interpretation of how you're going to express that emotion through the technology. That piece, I don't know how AI picks that one up so quickly.
No.
So I think what we're seeing is a replacement. Not a replacement, but the shift of needing this. You still need draftsmen. You still need, even if it's software, even if the technology changes and there are different people doing the work, it's still people doing the work. And the creative process is the holy grail of AI. So I would imagine we're at the bottom of that spectrum. There's quite a few other areas they're looking to replace first.
Yes.
Before the creative process is tapped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, good. On that note, thank you very much, and we will break for lunch now. Be back here by 2, please. Thank you.